and boom goes the dynamite.
Welcome back to the only Monday through Friday live lacrosse talk show. This is the Daily Dive. I'm your host, Michael Karvelis. To everyone on the West Coast, good morning. And to everyone on the East Coast, good afternoon. It's time for lunch and some lacrosse talk. On today's show, we'll have an NLL Finals preview special with Adam Levi, who is awesome. We'll get his takes on things like the MVP and, of course, the NLL Finals. And, of course, we're going to react to the latest awards right now. So, Zach Currier has won back-to-back Transition Player of the Year awards. Zach Currier won in a landslide over Chandler Rogers, 440 to 264 points. Reed Bowery had 179 points. Christian Del Bianco, who's also in the running for MVP, finished with 594 points over Nick Rose, who had 441. And Toronto Rock's Latrell Harris, who I said was Defensive Player of the Year, did win Defensive Player of the Year over Graham Hossick and Brad Cree, his teammate. No surprise here. Of course, Currier's stats are absolutely insane on offense and defense. It's kind of, in my opinion, he's kind of like an MVP because he plays both ends, and that's such a rare thing in lacrosse. And then for goalie of the year, of course, Christian Del Bianco, well-deserved. I picked him, by the way, to be fair. I did pick Del Bianco to win goalie of the year. I just did not pick him as my MVP. So let's just get that out of the way right now. But also shout out to Latrell Harris, who came on this show and brought the energy. Of course, the Rock did fall short, but man, great to see a Rock player get rewarded. And Latrell Harris, to me, was absolutely insane this year on defense and well-deserved of this award. When I come back, though, we're going to get right to our NLL Finals preview with Adam Levi, who is a contributor for NLL and NLLPA, along with the IL Indoor, and host of the Lacrosse Matrix podcast, and he might have finished second place in the recent award. We're going to get his thoughts on that. It's Daily Dive. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Daily Dive. It is my pleasure and honor to welcome in Adam Levi. And Adam, last time we had you on the show, you had not been nominated for an award. It is awesome and pretty cool that you're on the show again.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me back. And also my screen wasn't working, so it's actually good to see you face-to-face this time as well. I also have to say, way to pump up your guests with that intro song as well. I actually was Shazamming that as you brought me on, just because it's only 9:10 here in Vancouver, Canada, but I'm ready to go.
Oh, good morning to those of you on the West Coast. There you go. There's one. I'm ready to go as well. That song is amazing. And Adam, I do have to ask you first, just to break the ice here.
Yeah.
Teddy, to be fair, I picked Adam Levi to win the Media Person of the Year. I'm sure either Teddy or Pat would have done wonders for you as well. What is your reaction to being nominated for such an awesome award, and also your reaction to seeing Teddy win it for his second time?
I'll start by saying that I love Teddy Jenner. I think he is an amazing human being. I think he's great at his job. I think that he is an original personality that is a vital part of the National Lacrosse League and the growth of this league. And we would not be in the place that we are as a league without Teddy. When I heard that I was nominated or saw that I was nominated on the short list that came out before the finalists, it was really emotional for me. To be honest, I cried in my kitchen with my wife because, I put in a lot of work this season. You listed the things, and 60-hour weeks with a toddler is a lot, and so it's nice that hard work can pay off. It was a real honor to be nominated alongside Pat and Teddy. I like them both so much, as I said, and Pat, has also been a very good friend. What I can say is that to miss out by 5 or 6 votes, it stings. I have a strong feeling. I know where I lost some votes, and I've already sent out some gifts, some flowers, some love to those individuals. I'm ready for a comeback, you should say, next year.
I love that it was so neck and neck, because it could not have happened to like 3 greater people. Like, just how awesome you guys have been. You got all 3 of them on this show, so I was forever grateful. And this time we can actually hear the guy who finished second place, so I'm not mad about that either. But just congrats to you, sir. And again, as a person who's aspiring media myself, I can almost like sympathize with you on that being emotional. So great job for you, sir.
Thank you. And I do have to say, and I know I was saying before I came on that, for you, you're rising in the media ranks here. You're getting a lot of attention. So I guess one question that I have, as the reporter I always am, I can't shut that off. You can ask my wife about that. I'm always asking questions. Is where did you get the cojones to go up against a guy like Christian Del Bianco, or Del Bianco, I should say, and Curtis Dixon, really battle those guys on Twitter and be able to hold firm with your opinions? Because that really does take some courage.
So I've always been one to love talking sports, just with anybody. I don't care who you are. My biggest thing is I love this game and I want it to grow, and so I want it to like have those debates, because I think they're fun. Like, half of my investment into other sports is just debating with people online and having the personal feelings about when they win or lose. Them responding to me, I did not see coming. It's almost one of the things where like, do you want us to hold your ground? But I did. And I'm also glad that the 2023 version of me was able to see them respond, and not the 5 years ago where I probably would have clapped back and got emotional with it. But yeah. It is cool to see, especially guys your age. I think Del Bianco was like a year younger than me. So it's kind of like hits closer to home. It's kind of cool. But he's doing awesome, and I'm obviously trying to do a thing, but it's awesome.
Yeah, and I gotta say, shout out to all the young guys who are winning these awards. Christian, 25, I think, turning 26 this year. Latrell Harris, congratulations to him, just winning Defensive Player of the Year. He's 25, obviously. Rookie of the Year. We'll find out who that is. They're clearly a young person as well. So the youth movement in the National Lacrosse League is real, and I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Latrell Harris, because I had featured him in I believe it was a Beyond the Box piece for IL Indoor, and we had a great chat. As you had mentioned, he always brings the energy, and he made me feel really special during the interview, because he ended the interview with a couple of questions, and one of them was why I didn't follow him on Twitter. So I was really glad that he was interested in my follow, and I have to say, if you are interested in following Latrell Harris, a little plug here, it's Latrell Harris 7.
Okay.
Twitter. So there you go. Go follow Latrell. He'll really appreciate it, and I'm really happy for him. Zach and Christian. Zach, it's obviously been great working with him with the NLLPA and everything there, and he's been so supportive with me. So congrats to all those guys who won today.
No, I agree with that. And like you said, Latrell, I have not had the pleasure of having the other two on the show. Well, at least not on the show, right? But it's cool. Like, Latrell was, yeah, he's an awesome dude. I was like, let's see how he is. And I could not have been more happy that he came on the show. So you're right about that. He's awesome.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, Christian Del Bianco did just win the MVP. It's funny that you did mention my debates with him. My thing is, and I have a question for you about this. Mm-hmm. Not only who should win, but seeing the discrepancy of the votes with Kurt Malosky on how much he won the Coach of the Year by, to me, it's always rubbed me wrong if you're saying that was like by far and away the best coach and you have the MVP. Who should win it? And I want to get your reaction to that as well.
So I think that, and talking to so many former and present players around the league, ones that are not included in the postseason, Kurt is one of the most highly respected coaches and men in the National Lacrosse League. So being that kind of leader definitely goes a long way. And that's not to knock any of the other great coaches, guys like Tracy Kolaski or Mike Hazen, amazing guys. I've spoken to them plenty throughout my career and even this year. But I think that the one thing that I've heard is that, we don't really talk about how, this Roughnecks team has transitioned to, yes, there's some older guys that have been around, but this is a different team without the likes of, Dane Doby, Westberg, and Curtis Dixon. Obviously, Westberg hasn't been there a while, Dane Doby a couple seasons, but it is now a full revamp without those guys. Now, of course, there's guys like Jesse King, who's great. Christian's been there a while. He was on the championship team in 2019. But, this is a team that people didn't expect to be as good as they were, with a lot of pieces that really stepped up. You look at guys like Tanner Cook.
Yeah.
Seeing a guy like Liam Leclerc in person play defense, it's scary how he presses all the way up to the restraining line there. That is a guy who never quits, and Kurt knows how to get the best out of his players. And amazing guy. He's played a huge role in my growth in this league, in the way that I think about the game, I view the game, and he's been a huge inspiration to me. So I'm really happy that he won this award. And, if you win by a lot, if you win by a little, I guess a win is a win. So I think that in regards to that, it doesn't really matter.
That's fair. Who would you say, I don't know if you had a vote, but who would you say is the MVP of the season?
I did have a vote for the second year in a row. It was pretty awesome to have that last year, but yeah, this year. Now, I'm always searching for a good story, and I think that we can all say that Jeff Teed is probably going to win MVP multiple times in his National Lacrosse League career. So whether he wins it or not this year, I don't think really matters. I'm sure he would love that. But he's so passionate about lacrosse. I really think he just wants to go out there and play. Whether he wins MVP or not, I'm not sure how much that really means to him, as long as he's, just going out and doing his thing. I love the story of Christian winning both goaltender of the year and MVP. And talking to Coach Malosky, there is no doubt, and I'll mention another goaltender when we talk NLL Finals, but for a guy like Christian, Coach Malosky was saying, we wouldn't be where we are without him. And I think that that's fair to say. Even when you have a guy like Zach Currier in transition who plays as well as he does, Christian holds everything down. He is the rock of that team. And Coach Malosky has not been shy to say how important Christian is to that team, and with the difference that is made because he's in net as opposed to him not being in net. And, if your coach is saying that about you and people are recognize that, I think it's pretty hard to argue that, you are not only the most valuable player on your team, but when you have a record like that and get as far as you do in the playoffs, I think it's pretty fair to say you're probably the MVP.
Right. So that was your vote, right? Or I don't know if
I'm not going to say exactly who my vote is. I will say that I had him in my top three. And I'm also not saying that to be political and say, well, I didn't vote him number one. I would, for my top three, I had Nick Rose, I had Christian, and I had Matt Vince. And I know that, Dylan Ward, I know, and again, I'll get into this with you soon, but I know that Pat Coyle would have loved to see Dylan Ward on there. He didn't have the best regular season. And if this was a full season award, we might be looking at things different. Maybe Matt Vince would be winning the award. Maybe Dylan Ward would be winning the award. We still don't know who's going to win, but we do know who is going to win the goaltender of the year. But I think that Christian's been amazing. The way he helps this team push the ball in transition is amazing, and obviously that's been a huge part of their game.
I agree with that. And transition is definitely, I don't know if it's changed the game because I haven't watched it for that long, but it seems like something that more goalies are trying as the season went on to get that outlet pass. I like that you mentioned Dylan Ward. I did not mention him for MVP talks until like the last couple of weeks, but the more I've thought about, like, this guy had a lot of like guys who were missing all year in front of him. Like Ryan Lee obviously was the big one, but it was insane to me how good he did play and kept the Mammoth in those games. So like I said, I like your pick on that one. Well, one of your picks is what I'll say.
Yeah, and when we get to our finals preview, I have a great quote that's actually now out on NLL.com, previewing the series between the Mammoth and the Bandits. What Pat Coyle had to say about Dylan Ward. So I know that Pat Coyle and really the rest of the league has so much respect for Dylan.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I say let's get right into that then, because I want to ask. Well, maybe first this part. The Mammoth last season won the finals, and people were like, they shouldn't have been here. It's like that's the narrative you get from people. Now they make the playoffs, and again, they get past the super team Seals and the Roughnecks. Had to do it on the road as well. How in the world did Colorado pull this off?
So it really comes down to, I think, a couple of things. First of all, this is a team who is extraordinarily disciplined and well coached with Pat Coyle there. Pat is one of the guys, or probably he's the guy that I've been speaking to the longest in the National Lacrosse League. When I first got my start in the NLL, I was actually a beat writer for the Colorado Mammoth. So I got to learn a lot from Pat, and Pat gave me a lot of tough love when I was coming up in this industry, and I needed it. I was very new to the game, just as you are right now, and I needed to learn. I needed to experience things, and so it was great to have Pat as kind of a pseudo mentor to me. But I think that so the tight knit nature of this team goes a long way. Being healthy is huge. Pat Coyle was even telling me in the preview, or for the preview, I should say, that even last game in game 3, on their defensive side there, they were missing Noah Labar, who was a rookie. They was missing Josh Sullivan on the right side. And of course, they've been missing Joey Capito, who's a huge part in transition. So to be missing 3 righties there and still, hold the Roughnecks to 7 goals in game 3 in Calgary, this is a team. Look, you saw what they did in the fourth quarter, really for the last 26 minutes of that game, not allowing a goal. It was extraordinary, suffocating defense.
Yeah.
And that's their signature. That's how they win. The reason they can be better now is because they do have such a deep stacked offense. And so, when it comes playoff time, this team's not ready to give up on each other. But I will also say, and this goes to the finals preview as well. So when I was talking to Pat Coyle, I was asking him about how they won and how they need to win. And he said, this is in regards to Dylan Ward, he's been our best player by far. And I think that's what that has to happen for us to win. I'm sure teams and people looking from the outside our locker room are saying, without Dylan Ward, they don't win. And he said, we're like, yeah, of course. He is how our team is built around. So, when your coach is admitting that other teams are like, yeah, without Dylan Ward, we're not going to win. He's like, okay, yeah, sure. Like Dylan Ward is amazing. And I think that we can all agree that playoff Dylan Ward, just as Dylan Ward in the finals, holding the Bandits in the last 2 games there to 8 goals. This guy loves to play. He is so good. And I think, he really should be in the conversation as, MVP. It's unfortunate again that these awards, go out for regular season.
Hey, I mean, winning finals MVP wouldn't be too shabby, I guess. But no, you're right. And I'm a Miami Heat fan, and of course the NBA, and I compared like what I'm seeing with the Mammoth defensively to the Heat. It's like, oh my gosh, like you can't get anything past these guys. So I agree with you. And plus, like you said, the close knit of that team is probably helping them a ton too, because chemistry on defense is huge. Probably more so than it is offensively. So I love that point. I love the quotes that you're bringing up for these guys too. That's awesome. Going to the Buffalo side, the Bandits have not just beat teams; they've destroyed them. especially in this playoff run. You can argue Tom Schreiber wasn't there for one of the games, but like, Lordy, is this team with a title the best NLL team ever? Of course, I'm new with you. I'm asking that question.
So I think we can start with talking about how the Bandits have been very successful, and they have been. And again, and what's amazing for us fans is that we're going to get to see two amazing teams who are on hot streaks, who are pretty much very, very healthy, which we couldn't say about the Bandits, or sorry, about the Mammoth last year. But even look at the Bandits during the regular season. Only had Chase Frazier for a couple games, missed Chris Cloutier for half the season, missed Josh Byrne for a handful of games. Those guys are all back now. And you see what it's doing to their offense. It's really unbelievable. There is so much talent on that team. But I was looking into it. Of course, I've always got to bring my nuggets, got to bring my stats. And if we take a history lesson, and these are things that I think that all fans, we need to look back at the history of this sport to understand how far we've come and the people that have paved the way for us. But if you look at 1992, when the Bandits won their first championship, they went 5-3 in the regular season, which I know that's not what you would expect, but they were averaging over 20 goals per game during the regular season, and they ended up winning the NLL championship. In another year, I believe it was in 1996 when they won the championship, they were averaging over 17 goals per game. Then they went 8-2 that year. Obviously, in 1993, they went 8-0. And so you win all of your away games. In 1996, they actually had a better away record, 5-0, than they did a home record at 3-2. So, and this is, if you look at those rosters, the guys that they had on that team, of course, the head coach now of the Bandits, John Tavares, but Derek Keenan, Jim Veltman, Darius Kilgore, Bob Hamley, Kevin Alexander, these are absolute legends of the game that we should 100% not forget about. And it's amazing how good those Bandits were from, I even want to say 1995 through 1996. They were the most dominant, forceful dynasty of a very young National Lacrosse League, but a really incredible stretch of teams there. And so it's hard to say, even with a title, that this is the best team. I think that, also we need to, take a pause and let's be realistic here that winning this title is going to be very difficult for them. And Coach Tavares understands that. He had told me for the preview that this is a team, they've been clicking in every facet of the game, transition, goaltending, defense, offense, but they know that the Mammoth are tough, and they have not forgotten what happened last year. And they actually still haven't, we don't talk about it. They met during the regular season this year and lost 13-8. They haven't forgotten that either. So in their last 3 games they faced each other, the Bandits have only scored 8 goals. I'm not saying stats don't lie, but the stats are there for a reason. And some things, if a team knows how to beat you, then sometimes they know how to beat you, and it's going to be very tough for the Bandits to overcome this hurdle against the Mammoth.
I'm pretty sure the one of the press releases or whatever I got from the NLL was you may have seen it, that the Bandits were like 35-10 the last 2 years, including postseason. And 4 of those 10 losses have been for the Mammoth. Like, good Lord. They can't get past these guys.
Yeah. No, their overall record, I think, over the last 4 seasons is astronomical. It's like 45 wins and like 18 losses or something great. Like, they're amazing in the regular season. And they've been, to be honest, amazing up until the NLL Finals. And even in the finals, they've been great. They're still very good. If you're a team that makes it to the NLL Finals 1 year, let alone 2 years in a row, or 3, I guess it would be 3 years if you want to include that COVID break. Right. That is really difficult to do. So, this is a team that, and still, if you look at guys like Tehoka Nanticoke, Josh Byrne, Chris Cloutier, Chase Frazier, these guys are young, relatively speaking. They've got so many more years. And when you got Dane Smith playing the way he still is, Matt Vince at his age playing the way he is, even Steve Priolo, getting up there. This is a really, really talented and tough Bandits team.
You saw Steve Priolo trying to run. I think he scored on that play, though, against maybe the Rock. in the playoffs. I forgot which play it was.
I think you're right. I think he did. I don't remember
cool,
as well. But yeah, Steve's a great guy, very interesting character in this league and very dedicated. If you ever have him on the show, you should ask him about his van. He's lived in a van and traveled a lot through that van with his wife and along the West Coast and done a lot of hiking and outdoor stuff. There's some really great, interesting characters in the National Lacrosse League, guys who are so open and willing to share their stories. And, that's a blessing of being in this league and something that, you follow other sports. You don't have that privilege in other leagues, and guys aren't as open. And so I think that we're really fortunate to be covering a league like the National Lacrosse League.
I say pay these guys, but I'm hoping if we pay them millions of dollars, they still want to talk. But no, you're good Lord. So many great veterans have come on this show, and it's just insane how down to earth they are.
Yeah.
But we do got to pay these guys before we try to grow the game.
Yeah.
If this finals came down to a few things, in your mind, what are those things that you're watching that'll be key for the Bandits and the Mammoth, either one, to win?
So obviously, when we talk about Dylan Ward, it's going to be can that Bandits offense finally crack Dylan Ward in the NLL Finals? Can they be consistent over a couple games? I think that's going to definitely be key for them. Obviously, Matt Vince is going to bring it. I think that spreading that offense on both sides of the ball, if you can get multiple goal scorers, like the Mammoth had, I think 8 goal scorers for their 9 goals in game 3, including some defense and transition guys. That is always vital. When you got guys, putting the ball in the back of the net, it distracts from other players who you might be worried about, because now you got to worry about somebody else. I think that Bandits defense, I know you were actually featuring the puppy guarding concept, which was so interesting to hear about. And to be honest, I actually used that as a talking point with John Tavares in my interview with him, just to get his take. And what I will tell you from that perspective is he was like, that's something, that they've been implementing not only at parts during the regular season, but also in previous playoffs as well. And Pat Coyle knows that. I was talking to Pat about that as well. And, they're going to have to try and hit their shots in the corners because they know that those guys are going to be standing in front of the net. I think it's clearly an effective strategy, but, Matt Vince is Matt Vince. People think he's the goaltending GOAT. So I think you could put 5 guys in front of Matt Vince, and I think you still got to give Matt Vince credit that he's stopping the ball.
So to be fair on that aspect of that, and that's crazy awesome that you asked him about that. That was from a Facebook group, and I forgot the guy's name, Kyle something. Mm-hmm. But he had the picture of it because I remember watching the play. I'm like, wait a second. But you're right though. I'm sure John Tavares, as a goal scorer himself, is fully aware they might be a little bit harder to score that way. So I love the competitive advantage it gives them.
Yeah, and I think the reality is that if you're a man down in particular, and they use that a lot on the man down, what you obviously aren't going to try and leave shooting lanes open for guys. That would just be silly. It seems almost like I think that it came to life, this idea, because of the fact that, the NLL had posted a picture with the 2 guys obviously in front, and they're soaking a lot of shots too. So you got to give them credit. The strategy's working. But it really, when you think about it, it's a very easy strategy to bring into your game, especially when, your goal as a defenseman is to stop the ball from going in the back of the net.
Yeah, you're right. They do soak a lot of those, which got to be painful. Shout out to the referee who did that himself in game 3. But one final point on that, I do like they do that because they are a man down. Why not? And I can differentiate between NBA and NLL. I don't have to say, well, the NBA does it. Who cares? So it's sport right here. Yeah. Who wins it? If you can give your prediction.
So I especially during the postseason, I cautioned myself to make those bold predictions. Although obviously throughout IL Indoor, I had to do that throughout the entire season. But what I will say, to play it safe, and I know that this is a cop out, During the conference finals, when Isle Indoor asked my pick, I went with Preston's picks. I actually went with my son's picks for the
That was awesome.
finals. I'm leaving it up to the wise 21-month-old toddler to make the decision. So I know that Preston's picks are coming out today for the NLL Finals, and I even am just making him decide. I don't know, making that sounds like I'm terrible parenting, but I'm having him choose between if it's going to go 2 or 3 games as well. So if he gets both of those correct, and especially if he picks the Mammoth for the 3rd time in a row and they end up winning, I'm not saying he should be the Mammoth mascot or he should, get season tickets. We should have a parade for him. Let's get him out to Denver. Put him on that bus and let's celebrate Preston as well as the Mammoth. But we'll see who Preston picks, and whoever he picks, that is who I'm going to go with because I'm going to support my son. What I can say is that I think that this is going to be an incredible series. I think that both home turfs are electric environments.
Yes.
Unbelievable places to play. And I know that also in the preview, I was asking Coach Tavares about what it's like to play in Bandit Land. And he was like, I think he said, if you ask around the league, look, people will say we have the best fans. Now, I know that Kurt Malosky said the same thing about Calgary, and I know that Pat Coyle will say the same thing about Denver. But those passionate Bandit fans and those passionate Mammoth fans, they are serious. I had a great quote in the preview from Pat Coyle, and it was basically talking about, because this is such a new strategy to have 2 games in one weekend. And when you think about the travel from Buffalo to Denver, and Pat even mentioned, well, it's a weird start time too on Monday. You've got a 2 p.m. Mountain Time start or 4 p.m. Eastern Time start. And so that's going to be a little weird. But he was saying, look, one of the teams is going to be in a position to win the NLL championship on that Monday. Nothing else matters. It doesn't matter if they're on 2 hours sleep. Those guys who have been fighting their entire lives in some cases to win a championship. Think about Steve Priolo, been in the league for 13 years, hasn't won a title. Dane Smith, 10 years, hasn't won a title.
Wow.
These guys, they don't care about the travel. They don't care about any obstacle. They're going to do everything that they can to win a championship. And so Monday is going to be an amazing game, and I cannot wait for it. Both games this weekend are going to be must-watch TV. And hopefully we're treated to a Game 3 next weekend, although that means another week of work for me. So maybe I'm not really rooting for that. But, I want what's best for the fans in the league.
Agree with everything you said. I feel bad because I forgot that was your son doing that. That's awesome. Like, forget the corgi from the NBA. This thing's cool. This guy's cooler.
We are working on some ideas for a better production value in the future. I will plug right here. This is breaking news. I am also working on a Preston Picks logo.
Please.
Yeah. So, I'm not saying that merch is around the corner, but, there is a logo on the way. I as much as I can connect with my son about lacrosse until he decides he doesn't want to be involved with lacrosse or whatever that is, he'll make his own decisions in life. I'm really enjoying this special moment between us, and he loves sports. He's an athlete at heart. Every time we watch a game, he's cheering. He's got his lacrosse stick. He's an amazing kid, and as you see in Preston's picks, he puts a lot of thought into it. I have no idea what's going on in that little brain of his, but he clearly takes a moment to make his decisions.
Oh, he's like, wait a second. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much, Adam. And of course, Preston. This is great. And I do have to say, it's bittersweet. It's coming to an end, but I'm also excited for the season to come to an end as well.
Yeah, it's been a long season with a lot of talking points, a lot of things, moving pieces here and there. It's been one of the best NLL seasons that we've had in a long time, and the way that the league has come out so strong post-COVID, let's not understate how amazing that's been for the NLL and fans. And and I know that we were talking before the program, the ESPN and TSN partnerships totally instrumental to growing
Yeah.
this game, making a huge impact. I know you were telling me it was a significant part in what got you in the game. And so, the more we can engage fans, the more we can get fans excited about box lacrosse. I think it's important that we keep doing that, because there is a deeply rooted culture of box lacrosse in Canada. This is not just some sport. This is not just a hobby for some guys. These guys grow up, like, their life starts at 3 years old, getting a lacrosse stick, and then being in the box, at 4 or 5 years old. This is a part of Canadian culture. It's a part of life, and it's something that we need to keep alive and thriving for as long as we can, if not forever.
Well, you're doing your part, and Daily Dive will definitely try to do its part. Adam, if this is the last time we have you on the show this season, we'll definitely look forward to next year. And it's been awesome having you on twice. Technically, this is the first time, but thanks so much for all you do. Congrats on your nominations, and comeback season is on the way. Enjoy the finals.
Thank you so much, Michael. I really appreciate it. You're doing amazing work. Keep it up, and don't let the players chirp you too hard. I know that you can take them. Their bark is a lot bigger than their bite. So just remember that.
Yeah, they're good guys. I love them.
Yeah.
Thank you, Adam.
Have a good one.
You too. Well, who doesn't love a good preview for some playoffs? That was our last one of the year with awesome Adam Levi, and of course Preston's picks. You don't want to miss those today. But for everyone that comes on this show, for everyone that watches this show, thank you. For everyone behind the scenes that makes this show work and the future, and that helps with the future plans, thank you. And for everyone and myself, I'm Al Karvelis saying so long. Tomorrow's show's got John Gertler. Cannot wait to talk to him again. And then we got the championship coming up. So it's going to be awesome. Have a great day, guys. Same time, same place tomorrow. Daily Dive is out.